Here's Joe Biden on the mythical gun show loophole no one seems to be able to find in the law anywhere but Joe Biden and liberal Democrats. So again, the fact that the gun show loophole doesn't exist does not prevent Democrats from lying to really stupid people who believe it. Here's Joe Biden yesterday.
Most people don't know it. You walk into a store and you buy a gun, you have a background check. But you go to a gun show, you can buy whatever you want and no background check.
I'm running out of ways to debunk this. I don't know any other way to tell you this. Liberals listening, I'm asking you, listen, I get it. I get it. You hate the right to self-protection. You can't stand firearms. You want to kneel before others like 60 Minutes guy from yesterday's show. I get it. I get it. You want to beg for your life. You don't want to be able to defend yourself against criminals. I totally understand. You think criminals obey gun laws, which is hilarious in its stupidity, having been on the streets. I've never arrested a guy during my time as a federal agent or a police officer or woman who had a gun legally. Never. That's 15 years of law enforcement experience. But yes, liberals, you know better than me. Yeah, absolutely. All your street experience, I'm sure. There is no gun show loophole. It doesn't exist. Now, they keep saying gun show loophole because they what they want, Joe Biden and his liberal totalitarian communist buddies. They want universal background checks for every single transaction of a firearm. Why? I don't like to repeat shows, but it's important you understand why the Democrats are pushing for this. Criminals don't get background checks. The verdict, I got to be careful, the gavel's busted up. Verdict is in. Only idiots believe that. I'm sorry. Criminals buy Saturday night specials off the streets, typically through straw purchases that were done legally, and then they buy the guns illegally from them, which is against the law now. Everybody get that? There's no background check. So why would you get it? Because you have a functioning neuron. But liberals don't understand this. Criminals don't care about background checks. Not now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, not ever, not Back to the Future 2, no Biff, no Alex P. Keaton, no, but they don't care. So if smart liberals, and there are few of them, not morally good, but they're smart, they know what they're doing. So if smart liberals, tactically smart, are pushing for universal background checks, and they know criminals will never go through a background check for a gun because then they couldn't get a gun, why would liberals want universal background checks? Think it through. And using the mythical, made-up, fictitious gun show loophole has been debunked 1,000 times to push for universal background checks. Think it through. My regular listeners already know the answer, so let me not waste any more of your time because they want a list. Totalitarians love lists. Lists of dissenters, lists of gun owners, lists of people who don't dare kneel and genuflect before the regime. They love lists. Why do they like lists? Because they got to know who to track down when their totalitarian plans don't go so well. Oh, that's right. Liberals have always wanted a list of everybody who owns a gun in the United States so they can come and take it. But they will never have a comprehensive list if a background check is not done for every transaction involving a gun. Think it through. If you were allowed to sell a firearm to your friend, give a firearm, as long as they're not a prohibited, it is against the law right now to sell a firearm to someone prohibited from possessing one. Everybody understand that? Fact. If you want to give your firearm to your son, your daughter, your cousin, you're getting older, you want to transfer it to a family member, you don't need to do a background check under some circumstances. Liberals know that would screw up the list because then when they show up to take your guns, you could say what? Think about it. Think about it. You could say, oh no, I got rid of it. I gave it to a family member. It's all legal. They don't want any of that. They have to know everything about everyone all the time, even though they know universal background checks will do nothing to stop criminals from getting guns because they don't do background checks because then they couldn't get guns under current law. They're pushing for it anyway because they want a comprehensive list of everybody they can go to. Because then when they go to you and you say, I don't have the gun, I gave it to my son or my daughter. We don't have a record of the background check. Hands behind your back, sir. Bracelets on. And I'm not talking about David Yerman bracelets. I'm talking about Smith & Wesson type bracelets. You know, the handcuff type. Makes sense. Liberals, you have to, gosh, the one reason I got into this show is because liberals always lie. Their entire life is a lie. Nothing they tell you about what they're planning to do is actually what they're planning to do. They don't want background checks to stop gun violence. They want background checks to put you on a list. So when you're on the list, they can come and take your gun. Now, you're still under the mistaken belief because you're a liberal and your whole life is a lie. You live in a vacuum of stupidity. Yes, there's a gun show loophole. Well, here's a great article, National Review by Charles Cook. It will be in our newsletter today, Bongino.com/newsletter. If you're listening to today's show, by the way, we really should put that entire 60 Minutes interview from yesterday in the newsletter. I got a ton of people wanted to see the whole thing. So maybe I'll put the link in there. Guy, do you have it? You have it from yesterday, right? All right, we'll put that in Bongino.com/newsletter is how you follow the newsletter. Subscribe, it's free. This article will be in there today. Charles Cook, Joe Biden lied about gun shows. Yeah. Okay, so that's easy to say, but what's the truth? Here are the real rules about background checks. Hint, they have nothing to do with gun shows. There is no gun show loophole. Here are the rules about transfers of firearms. Number one, commercial transfers of firearms require federal background checks. Okay, you're going to buy a firearm from a firearm dealer. You have to go through a background check. Got it, libs? I know facts are tough. Two, private transfers. It's father to son, son to brother, whatever it may be. Private transfers only require federal background checks if they're conducted within one of the 13 states that superintend non-commercial firearms transactions. There are no special rules for gun shows. So why would Joe Biden bring up the mythical gun show loophole that nobody can seem to find? Because Joe Biden's either dopey or he's a liar. That's why. And he knows he will have a healthy cornucopia of dopey liberals eager to spout his nonsense and a whole bunch of media people who won't call him out on the lie. There's no gun show loophole. Those rules I just told you. Commercial transactions have to get a background check. Private, if you're not within those 13 states, you don't. Those rules apply everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're at a gun show or not at a gun show. Okay. So first we had David Chipman heading up the American Federation of Teachers. Weird. Someone should tell that Randy Weingarten or whatever. Then we had the mythical gun show loophole. Facts do matter. That's BS. Let's go to the third one. Joe Biden, again, either really stupid. I'm sorry, folks. I know some of you, gosh, Dan, that's so harsh. It is harsh. They're talking about taking away our right to defend ourselves and attacking our Second Amendment rights. And we're supposed to be cutesy. Cutesy time is over. I'm not doing cutesy time anymore. The guy's an idiot or he's a liar.